good evening, everybody. I see that, we're going to obviously get started. I just see a couple of things that are coming through on the chat, such as someone says that they can't see Richard on their screen. I'm not sure if that's some kind of technical thing that's going on. So maybe...
I see myself.
And I see you as well. So
yeah, okay, so I'm not sure what that is all about, but
everybody should be visible.
Yeah.
So my suggestion is if anyone can't see one of our presenters, maybe go out of the meeting and come back in, because everybody's visible right now as far as I can see.
Jackie is saying they see one person at a time. So I know that's just a setting.
Yes, that's the view setting. Zoom. So if you click on view, up in the right-hand corner,
go to gallery.
It's probably set on speaker view.
Right, good. So go to gallery. If everybody on the call, if you go like Jackie said, the upper right-hand corner, there's a it says view, and if you hit gallery, you'll see you'll see everybody.
That should fix it.
This is life in the technology world, and Zoom doing what it wants to do at any given time. It keeps us on our toes. So, we're going to go ahead and at least get started. Good evening, everybody. My name is Vicki Elner. I'm Outreach and Government Affairs Coordinator, consultant for Ronald Fatoullah Associates, very proudly so. And we're thrilled to have you here tonight for this very, very special event. A couple of housekeeping details. We're in a webinar format, so you can see us. Well, hopefully, we cannot see you, although we know who's on the line on the participant list. This session is being recorded for everybody's information. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to put them in the chat. And relevant to that, it's always nice for us to hear how you heard about this webinar and what interested you and brought you here tonight. We appreciate that information. So thank you again for being here tonight. So as we start, we have, as you know, this is called Not Done Yet. Actually, Not Done Yet, the initiative has been in the planning phases for close to 2 years, actually. We started before the pandemic, and we had a different vision when we first started. We've expanded on it over the time, and today it's like opportunity meets the webinar relevant to this program, which is going to be very special, and I'm sure that everybody will be very moved, very inspired, and learn a lot. And to our speakers tonight, I certainly want to say thank you so much for being here, for your generosity of spirit, for sharing your stories with us tonight, and for being brave to do that, because it does take a certain amount of bravery to be able to share something that is very personal, and we appreciate that so much. So what is Not Done Yet? When we first started it, we thought about it relevant to maybe career changes and people change directions, and that will be part and parcel of what we'll be doing. But like I said, we've expanded on that. So as it stands now, I'm Not Done Yet. The webinar will be Not Done Yet, the initiative for the firm. And it represents overcoming challenges, adjusting to life-changing experiences, making a shift in your professional or personal life, chasing your passions, fulfilling dreams. These are things that demonstrate resiliency. And I think that that is a great buzzword for 2022. We've been through a lot over the last couple of years relevant to COVID, the pandemic, and resiliency certainly is on the forefront. Changes that are chosen and forced upon us give us our ability to reinvent ourselves and to refocus. And I think that you'll see that demonstrated here tonight as our speakers share their story. So let me start out by telling you about our first speaker here tonight, Ron Gold. Ron Gold has a very moving story. In 2001, Ron and some colleagues embarked on one last bicycle ride before winter. Near the end of their 50-mile ride, a sleeping driver in an SUV came barreling upon the group and struck Ron head-on without braking. The accident nearly cost Ron his life and left him paralyzed. He requires home care every day, even now, many years later. The early years were certainly especially tough, but one of the biggest challenges was finding reliable caregivers. Ron started a company called Lean On We, which we'll hear more about. Not only does Lean On We solve a widespread problem faced by millions of households, but it also has given Ron a new purpose in life. So with that being said, I want to turn over the platform to Ron to share his story. Thank you, Ron, for being here tonight.
Thank you, Vicki, for that lovely introduction. Let me share my screen. First off, I want to tell you how excited I am to be here tonight. And in that sense, I want to thank Ron, Vicki, and Jackie for putting this evening together. Look, we all have stuff we're working through. Thankfully, most of you haven't dealt with the adversity that I'll talk through tonight. But that doesn't mean it's any less real or that it isn't challenging. I first met Ron when he spoke with Rabbi Stephen Leder about his book, The Beauty of What Remains. I was touched by the conversation, and I knew then that there was a compassionate attorney genuinely looking to help others on a deep level. Also, a fun fact, some of you may also know that Ron had an alter ego before he found law. Gabba gabba hey, and I will start with my short video.
Don't embarrass me, Ron.
I was a big fan, I want you to know. When I was in college, well, we'll talk about that later. This was me, all of it. Until one day, the driver coming at me fell asleep, and it was me who didn't wake up for 2 weeks. As I'm sure you can imagine, and I hope you only have to imagine, it was a very rough time. I did have this: friends, family, support. They were waiting for me, waiting to see, hoping, but not knowing whether I was going to pull through. I did. I was alive, but it didn't mean living. This is all I could see. Then, one of my closest childhood friends didn't make it, also doing what she loved. Afterwards, I knew her family would have jumped to switch places with me, to have her with them, even in a chair. This woke me up. I had only seen this, and I had thought of myself as a victim, but now knew I was a survivor, and still have much to contribute. I was never much of a sitter, as you can see from the video. I was running through airports, skiing mountains, hustling through Asia. Life was pretty great and a lot of fun. I had and still have a loving, healthy family and a successful sales career that hit all the check marks I had set out for myself when I graduated from Wharton, oh so long ago. I was working around the globe, meeting interesting people, doing interesting things, and believed I was making a difference as I helped underdeveloped Asian countries jump into the 21st century. In my intro, I spoke of my close friend, Anne, who died in an equestrian competition 2 years after my accident. She lived her life with purpose. A native South African, she single-handedly marshaled international forces to create a youth village in Rwanda for the victims of that genocide. Her death, of course, reinforced that life is precious. It also drove home that she lived with purpose, made a difference in the world, and died doing what she loved. I wanted that. So, although this is not the way I ever planned or wanted it to be, and I can't change it or the cards I've been dealt, I can play the hand as best I can. And to do that, I needed new purpose. But when trauma such as I had hits you, it takes you on a wild ride. It takes a while for your body and your mind to catch up and process it. You don't have to experience something as dire as I did. Change happens to and around us every day. But I had a hard time digesting and processing that change. I had too many days of feeling weak, frail, and really sorry for myself. I was stuck in these why me's. Then finally, my wife in her usual wisdom said, "Why not you? Bad stuff happens to people all the time." Whoa, why not you? That was harsh. She was right. Until then, I had thought of myself as the only one struggling, which of course I wasn't. So while Anne's death was a giant jolt, her life shined as an example of the power of a single person with purpose. It helped me see that not only was I not alone, I wasn't frail or weak. Why not you? It flipped a switch for me. My view changed, my perspective evolved. Now I could and would redefine and reposition my purpose to make a difference while here. Why not me? So likewise here today, I'm asking, why not you? What view or perspective do you hold on to that keeps you in a rut? What could or would you do today that would make a real difference for you and your loved ones while here? For me, that purpose came in two parts. One, in the creation of Lean On We, and two, sharing my insights on what's really important post-life-changing trauma. When I came home after 5 months in hospitals, the enormity of my loss of independence was starkly apparent. I had a rotation of caregivers for help, and I could barely move on my own. I also discovered what many of you probably don't know, because I didn't either. Home care is not covered by health insurance. No matter how many years you've paid into great private health insurance like I did, or you're on Medicare, the only care you're entitled to is a few hours a day for a few weeks, period. And then what? You're left to figure it out on your own and pay for it on your own. What was I to do? I have a chronic wound and a lifetime of caregiving needs. At Lean On we connect families looking for home care with a highly recommended caregiver from our network. Dealing with home care isn't something people think about until it happens. Your mother falls, your husband develops Parkinson's, your aunt leaves the stove on and starts a fire again. You may not know it, but there are two prevailing options when looking for home care. Use a home care agency or find someone blindly on your own through word of mouth. The agency has the advantage that it's easy. You call the agency, they hire the caregiver and send him or her out to you. But there's a price for that. You'll have little choice or control over the care. It's the more expensive option, and you're lucky if the caregiver earns half of what you pay the agency. For sure, an agency is a great resource, but we need options, and people need choice. So I began wondering, why are home care agencies so expensive? Why are caregivers paid so poorly? Why can't I choose my own caregiver? Hiring on your own has the advantage that it's less expensive, but there's no way to vet that caregiver coming into your home. And if they can't make it for any reason, you're stuck. We created Lean On We to bridge the gap between using an agency and word of mouth by emphasizing the column of pros and minimizing the cons. To give you a better picture of where we fit in the marketplace, at Lean On We meet, vet, and collect personal references on each caregiver. We verify the licenses. We shoot a professional video. We create an online profile. We take a fingerprint and send it to the FBI. Now, you have all the advantages of hiring on your own: choice, control, and lower cost, but with the peace of mind that they've been given the strongest possible vetting you can get. At Lean On We pride ourselves on helping families find someone who's truly the right fit and within their budget. But it's more than that. Our model allows caregivers to keep what they earn, set their own rates, and they're much more invested in the success of that relationship. And should they be unavailable for any reason, we're always there for backup replacement or emergency filling. Just to share with you what we consider a great win. Last month, a caregiver reached out to me directly and thanked me for starting Lean On We. She said she's going to clear $25,000 last year, and she had never been able to do anything like that when she was working through an agency. She went out and bought a badly needed new Honda Pilot to replace her 10-year-old minivan with 240,000 miles on it. She was pumped, and so am I. By cutting out the middleman, the caregiver earns more even as you pay less. And for that reason, our model attracts an extensive selection of qualified caregivers, even as a caregiver shortage nationwide is the biggest impediment to agency growth. And that shortage has never been more acute than it is right here, right now, due to COVID. And still, the caregivers are coming to us. We're all over the New York metro area. So, in the words of the great Cy Sperling, some of you may actually remember him. He was the creator of the Hair Club for Men. You understand that I'm not only the founder, I'm a client. When I first came home from rehab, and then later again from the hospital after one of my many surgeries, I had a PICC line inserted to prevent reinfection. For those of you now asking, what's a PICC line? I will give it to you. It's a long, thin tube that's inserted through a vein in your arm and passed through to the larger veins near your heart. Sounds like fun, huh? The point is, I didn't know what a PICC line was, or really much else that I was going through. I look back now and I was clueless, but I did have a great support network of friends and family to lean on. And I can't overemphasize how important that was. And I also had the healthcare professionals coming through, nurses, caregivers, therapists, phlebotomists, you get the idea. They gave me time to collect the information I needed to figure things out. As I got stronger and more confident, I was able to gain more control and reduce my care needs. At Lean On we've learned that likewise, many people who come to us don't know exactly what they need or even what to ask for. We help them drill down to their specific needs. For example, numerous people come to us thinking they need dual 12-hour shifts. Maybe someone told them, maybe they assume, but actually many times people can get a live-in. And a live-in is calculated on a daily basis rather than an hourly basis, and it's significantly less expensive than dual 12-hour shifts. Certainly the caregiver needs to be able to get proper sleep, but assuming you can get that, you can save a lot of money. But the important thing here is to understand you need to know your options and you need to understand them in advance. whether it's short-term care, long-term care, live out, live in, driver with a car, someone who speaks one of 20 plus different languages, we can filter on so many different criteria. You need to understand what's needed and what's possible. The thing is, few people are prepared for the emotional and financial burden that lies ahead with home care, even as no one wants to lay that on family members. And successfully navigating those stormy waters requires planning and partnerships. So, in the words of the world-renowned philosopher, Iron Mike Tyson, everyone has a plan until they're punched in the face. What about you? Do you have a plan? And when you take that punch, most people become immobilized or paralyzed. But when you have a plan, you can deflect and swing back. I know this better than most. Let me share this short story with you. Early in my career, I was at E.F. Hutton. An agent came around selling individual disability insurance. I knew nothing about DI, but my colleague said to me, you know, statistically, you're more likely to need DI than life insurance. I have no idea whether that's the case, but it rang true for me. So I bought the policy, one with a cost of living increase, and I didn't think much further about it. Well, that's not exactly true. I did consciously renew the policy each year. Fast forward years later, I'm now at Barclays. I see an email going around the firm about buying DI to supplement the firm's group plan. I looked at that email and I thought to myself, so much has changed in this 25 years that I bought that original policy. I'm now a family of 5, mortgage, college, weddings ahead of me. I decided to go all in. It went into effect 1 month before my devastating accident. Now, granted, I didn't plan for that, but I did have a plan. And a plan's not just financial. Let's look at the impact of COVID over these last couple of years. At first, we were all paralyzed and in lockdown. No one knew what to do. Over time, people started to adjust to the new reality and plan for something none of us had ever seen before. Perhaps it resulted in reorganizing your life, new desires, new perspectives. Like, why not you? You don't have to wake up from a coma as a paraplegic like I did to create a new plan to help you keep moving forward, or at least stay in motion. You may still want that same life. That's great, but do you have new desires, new goals? Have you planned, prepared for this new future? Creating Lean on We gave me the time to step back, reassess my priorities, and recognize the priorities of others. Some of my key insights have been, no one wants to be a burden to their loved ones. The absence of a solid plan puts that burden on your kids. Only in preparing for their parents do most people realize the importance of preparing for themselves. I'm sure you've heard stories of people who became sick or disabled and could no longer qualify for insurance. Perhaps that's even been your situation. That was me. When I tried to get long-term care insurance after having this bird's eye view of what lies ahead, no one would write it. And that's where my P formula comes in. If you have a plan and prepare, even if you don't know exactly what's coming down the road, you'll be able to protect yourself and your loved ones. Now, if some of this sounds like I'm hawking insurance and investments, rest assured I am not. But I believe we all need trusted partners to help us visualize our future and get there. Now, while finance is an area of expertise for me, most of us simply want to be financially secure. While it gave me new purpose, it doesn't have to become your purpose. But if you find the experts you need, like Ron, and know that your ducks are all in a row, it'll give you peace of mind that if, like me, even if you didn't plan for this, at least you have a plan in place. And that plan may require a team of experts, and we'll get to that in a minute. But now back to my formula. First, planning. Over the years, I've learned there are many recurring reasons why people don't plan. One, they think they can't afford it, and they'd rather just wing it. Two, They're not aware of the many tools and products at their disposal and suitable for them. And 3, they believe they'll get to it later, or they may not need it. May not need it is a big problem for long-term care insurance because people say, well, I may not need home care, so why should I get it? Well, I have to tell you, as the son of an actuary, that rings hollow for me because we don't know whether we'll need it. But if we can't self-insure it, then we have to protect for it. So the questions we ask are, how much money do we have and how much money are we going to need? Whether it's for retirement, something we can plan for, or that black swan event like I had that came out of the blue. So you're planning well, but you're not really sure for what. You're not alone. Now it's time to prepare. Preparation is actually deciding which steps are right for you and taking them. Since none of us knows what exactly to prepare for, we prepare for the worst and hope for the best. That means we find the experts we need. That could be medical, it could be legal, it could be investments, it could be other kinds of financial. As another example, we know 90% of Americans want to age at home. But we know many times modifications are needed in the home to make it safe and easy. Those are things we need to think about ahead of time. And in doing these things well, we protect our loved ones, our families, our businesses, our homes, really everything. And these are all acts of love. Think about that. Buying life insurance, disability insurance, long-term care insurance, it's an act of love. Creating a will, power of attorney, healthcare proxy, advance directive, it's an act of will. It's all about not being a burden to your spouse, children, and other loved ones. It's all about protecting your family and loved ones from all that would befall them and you from risk of death, disease, accident, anything that can dramatically change your current situation where you can't protect yourself and your own. At Lean On We, we've seen examples of each of these eventualities where all things have gone right, but more importantly, where they've gone wrong. If you become incapacitated, either temporarily or permanently, without these legal structures, you're creating a mess that others will have to dig out from. I experienced this as well. I know what you're wondering. Has this guy experienced everything? When I was hit by a negligent driver, I was immediately medevaced to Hackensack Hospital and placed in induced coma. Out of the blue, my wife was forced to make literal life and death decisions on my behalf. I was unable to weigh in. Who would have foreseen that outcome? We didn't. That's the very definition of risk. But here again, I had a plan in place. Healthcare proxy, power of attorney. It enabled my wife to do what was needed to save my life when I couldn't. So you can see that my P formula really will guide you into the future, into your success. So, who are these partners you may want to lean on? Well, estimates show that 50% of us turning 65 will need at least 2 years of home care. Do you have the assets to fund that? Also, 11% of the population has long-term care or some sort of hybrid life. That math is staggering because home care can run $100,000 or more annually in our area. And 65% of the population believes Medicare will pick up the tab. It's no surprise that people don't go out and buy private insurance if they think Medicare is going to pay for it. Did you know that an estimated 50 to 60% of Americans are going to die without a will? Where does all that money and property go? Again, sorting that out is a mess. I'm sure Ron can tell you all about it. So, having your ducks in a row, having the right team in place, having the conversations in advance, knowing that the power is in your hands. And that, planning and preparation are in fact acts of love. Because above all else, I learned no one wants to be a burden to anyone, especially to their children. This will give you peace of mind and let you sleep better at night. So why not you? Thank you. You can, I don't know, oh, here's my slide. You can take a picture of the slide with your camera if you want my contact information. I'm going to turn it over to Vicki.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, Ron. You certainly comprehensively talked about your experience, and then you related it to, strategies and the reality of things that people have to be cognizant of, plan for. We never know what life is going to deal us, and everything that you said was so on target and so on message. Once again, we appreciate you sharing that. And I know that you quoted Mike Tyson, the punch in the face. So I like to use quotations also. So the one that I'm going to share is a philosopher of our times, Yogi Berra, who said, when you come to a fork in the road, take it. To me, that always meant, listen, you never know what life is going to deal you or what you're going to encounter. And you don't know for sure one way or another what your choices will be or what they won't. But I can tell, and from your story, and that is so inspiring. And I know that from the first time that we spoke, that you're just so awesome. And we thank you so much for sharing this with us tonight and being so generous in doing so.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ron. That was terrific.
Yeah, it really was terrific. It really was. So, and definitely we'll stress this, the platform of Not Done Yet. You are so much a poster child for that. Thank you. So as we move into our next speaker, Richard Brodsky, let me tell you a little bit about Richard. In 1997, Richard was diagnosed HIV positive, and in 2002, he was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer. He made a promise that if his life was spared, he would do everything he could to help others living with HIV/AIDS and cancer, especially kids, whether in AIDS-ravaged Africa or America. To date, the Richard Ambrosky Foundation has helped thousands of Kenyan orphans throughout his foundation's annual World of AIDS Marathon in Kisumu, Kenya. Americans are helped through funds raised from Foundation 5K AIDS Cancer Run Walk in Baldwin Park. And Richard is an avid runner. In fact, a few days ago on a freezing cold day, he shared with us that he went out and he ran 16 miles. So you are my hero. So welcome, Richard, and we're looking forward to hearing your story.
Jackie, can you get the screen to the top? Jackie?
Can you, everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay.
We see that. Thank you, Jackie.
Having a little technical difficulty. Thanks for your
Okay.
patience.
Okay, thank you, Jackie.
And Rich, you're on mute. So, okay, perfect.
Okay. Thanks, Ron, for inviting me to speak and present slides and videos about the Richard Ambrovsky Foundation's work in Kenya and America. My wife, Jody, could not be here tonight, but she does have a video presentation at the end. Next. Next, Jackie. Okay. There is no one else in the world who runs marathons and who is living with HIV and brain cancer, according to the internet. I'm 69 now. 2 weeks before I ran the 2019 Albany Marathon, I asked my wife, Jody, if she would run a marathon with me for my 100th birthday, and she said yes. And then look at my bib number. I didn't ask for that number, but I guess it's going to happen. Next. Jody and I run about 6 and 5, or I run more like 5 and 4 marathons every year. And we get to run them in Nova Scotia, Kenya, Boston, Florida. So we have a great time running these marathons. Next. The Richard M. Brodsky Foundation was established in 2004. I was diagnosed HIV positive in 1997. To the outside world, my wife Jody and I were living an ideal life. I was a successful architect. My wife Jody and I had 3 loving daughters, and we loved keeping fit by running marathons. We were both very scared when I was first diagnosed HIV positive, but Jody took charge and did a great deal of research and convinced me to start taking the life-saving AIDS medicine. Jody chose to keep our family loving and whole, and me a part of it. And this presentation is only made possible because Jody believes in the work we are doing. Next. Jody, the Greatest Love Story Ever Told was written by me back in 2002. I realized that if all people, HIV positive people, kept this silly secret, there would be much less advocacy for finding a cure. The book was a gift to my wife for keeping our family loving and whole. And my story was also a plea to get AIDS medicine to AIDS sufferers all over the world if they would live healthy, so they could live healthy, productive lives. Next. Let's see. I had a seizure at my own book signing at Barnes & Noble in Greenwich Village. And a year later, I completed the 2003 New York City Marathon, flanked by my very supportive brain oncologist, Dr. Casilda Balmaceda. And it was she who encouraged me to start a foundation to help people living with HIV and cancer. Next. I ran my fastest marathon 15 months after being diagnosed with HIV. My time at age 46 was 3 hours, 23 minutes. 5 years later, November 2002, I was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer and given 2 to 4 years to live. I made a promise to myself and to my wife, if I survived brain cancer, I would do everything to help others living with HIV and cancer. And 2 years later, we were flying to Kenya to sponsor the first ever World AIDS Marathon in Mbita, Kenya. This was the start of the first marathon. Next. Next. Okay. We did raise enough money to get a home for orphans, the Little Lambs, for 50 to 6 orphans. We also raised some money for local AIDS and cancer organizations. We thought we could do better by staging a 2005 marathon in America, but we were wrong. And the next slide will show you. Next. This slide was prepared by the American Medical Student Association. The Richard M. Brodsky Foundation held its first annual World AIDS Marathon in 2004. The full impact of the marathon was realized on March 28, 2006, when the World Health Organization issued a report stating Kenya was only one of 2 African countries that had a declining rate for new HIV cases from December 2003 to December 2005. Next. This is one of the orphan dinner dances in 2006. Next. Can you go back one? I don't know how Zeus got into this picture. He wasn't planted or anything. But I don't know, maybe he traveled from Mount Olympus to bless the participants of the 2006 World AIDS Marathon. May Zeus's godly presence be the sign of a cure for AIDS and cancer in the near future. Next. Is one of the orphan dinner dances. The slide was prepared by the American Medical Student Association. Next. One of the orphans. Next. There's so much joy in being able to feed hundreds of orphans. Next. Yeah, these children, they're precious. They really are. Next. That's Mama Sarah seated in the middle next to my wife, Jody, in the yellow dress. Mama Sarah is President Obama's grandmother, and she became involved with our marathon and back in 2006, and she's been involved with it since 2019. Next. That's Barack Obama's grandmother, the far right in the blue dress, holding the Kenyan flag at the start of the 2006 marathon. Next. Okay, this is the start of the 5K AIDS Cancer Run Walk in, it was in Cedar Creek Park, June 22, 2008. People were asking, well, what are you doing for people in America? So we realized we had to start to do some events in America. Next. We only had 60 finishes the first year, but the second year we had 354 finishes, and Long Island Minority AIDS Coalition provided AIDS testing at both events. Next. We donated to Nassau University Medical Center, toiletry gift items, and a lot of toys to other organizations on Long Island. I think back then it was called Schneider's Hospital, and it changed to Cohen Children's Medical Center. The Seaford High School Chorus, they got involved. They sang the national anthem. Next. Kate Murray was there. We had trophies presented. God, I look a million years younger in this picture. That's my wife, and she's been very supportive. She comes to the event. Next. Okay, then we had a free run. We didn't charge anybody. It was in Oceanside Park, and we gave everybody toiletry gift items, which were worth about $50. They were to give it to people living with HIV and cancer. Everybody won a lottery prize worth $35. We served great food. Next. We had more participants from Great Neck North High School than any other high school, so we decided to have the next free event in the Great Neck area. That's Anton Berzins on the far left. He's the school psychologist at Great Neck North High. He also heads up the AIDS Awareness Club. Next. So this was in 2010. We had our first run in Kings Point Park. Next. That's Mayor Jean Salander with Jody and me. She's from Great Neck. Next. That's Jody and me speaking at Great Neck North High School's AIDS Awareness Club. Next. This was a greeting card designed by Tyler Fritzhand of the Great Neck AIDS Awareness Club. Go to the next slide and you'll get the idea. I sent him the picture and he took it and did about 12 different greeting cards. And that's Dr. Sartori of Garden City Pediatrics. And he's treated about 780 Kenyan orphans since 2011, and he donates most of the medicine. Next. Jody and I had the best time when we were in Kenya. We're just really happy to be there. There's Jody dancing. Next. There's Jody and me dancing. You know, everybody is Black there pretty much, so we're easy to spot there. Next. We have a lot of disabled wheelchair athletes at the event, at the World AIDS Marathon. Next. Like I say, this is a bakery, and I'm just really happy. Next. Yeah, there I'm ecstatic finishing the marathon. Next. That's Mama Sarah. We always give money to prize money. She was donating to the winning participants. Next. There's a lot of entertainment at the World AIDS Marathon. Here's the first slide. There's another one to follow. Next. That's more entertainment. Great dances they have in Kenya. Okay, this was our 2015 5K AIDS Cancer Run Walk. Next. Yeah, there's Kate Murray again and Carrie Salages. Carrie was presenting certificates to Jody and me, and Kate always likes to be involved in handing out the trophies. Next. This is a great story. This is Matthew Hartman. He was 8 years old. He made the cover of the Levittown Tribune. And what he did is for his birthday, he didn't want any presents. He just wanted people to donate to my foundation. And what a sweet guy. His parents are both teachers at Long Beach High School. Next. Yeah, it's always fun. We get a lot of toys donated. We got to donate this car to Five Towns Community Center. Next. These are some of Jody's colleagues at Nike with their kids at the 5K AIDS Cancer Run Walk. It's a great activity to bring kids to. It's all inside the park, so it's really safe. No traffic. Next. That's me back in Kenya with a cheetah. They're really big, lovable, friendly cats, but you still have to be careful. They can attack. That's Jody and me at Lake Victoria at Kisumu Impala Sanctuary with zebras. Next. That's a giraffe, Jody and me. They never say don't feed the giraffes. Giraffes, they're vegetarians. All they do is eat leaves. They eat 75 pounds of leaves a day, and they need like 10 acres of land per giraffe to graze on. That's a close-up of a lion. I told Jody she was getting a little too close. That's a leopard. They look a lot like cheetahs. In fact, I had to do some research. The difference is leopards have much more developed whiskers than cheetahs. Next. And there's Jody with the zebras. It's a little bit of an optical illusion. Jody was about 4 feet away, because otherwise a cheetah can whack its tail and really, really hurt you. Just playing with the giraffe, they're a lot of fun. Next. That's another orphan dinner dance. We're just really happy to be feeding the orphans. Next. That's Mama Sarah in the green robe there. You'll see her dancing later. She's 93 in the picture. It's at an orphan dinner dance at her home. Next. In 2016, we got to run the Jerusalem Marathon. We had a sponsor, Shalom Maidenbaum, sent us to Jerusalem, and we raised $52,000 for Imuna Bet El Azraqi Children's Home. And my wife, Jody, came in first place in the 60 to 70 year age group. Next. We also get to run in Nova Scotia. I always wanted to visit Nova Scotia. I'll never be one of these people that say, I always wanted to do this. You just have to, if you want to do something, just do it. So at 63, I ran my fastest marathon in Nova Scotia. When we go to Kenya, we stay at the home of Dr. David Silverstein and Hannah Komande. Dr. Silverstein is very much involved with the Nairobi Hebrew Synagogue, and he's also the personal physician to the former president of Kenya, Arap Daniel Moi. He recently died at 95. So I guess Dr. David Silverstein is a very good doctor. Next. Okay, this is my passage to heaven. I was the 10th and final Jew to enter the Nairobi Hebrew Synagogue. It's an Orthodox synagogue, and you can only open the Ark to read the Torah if you have 10 Jewish males. Next. Here's another orphan dinner dance at Dr. Banyo's place, Banyo's Kenya Mission. Next. This was in 2013. We hired a Kenyan artist to design the World AIDS Marathon T-shirt. So this is the painting, and you'll see the T-shirt shortly. Next. Yeah, I'm just so happy in Kenya. It's so much fun dancing with these Kenyans. Next. Yeah, that's along the marathon. Jody was about to catch up to me, and you can see there's like wild animals in the street. She eventually passed me. Next. That's PrEP. That's an AIDS medicine. People sometimes take it if let's say, in my case, I'm HIV positive, my wife is negative. It helps prevent the spread of AIDS. Also, if people have multiple sex partners, it's a good idea for the negative person to be taking this. Next. Every year we give a certificate of appreciation to anyone who makes a donation, and it just depicts the events that we have at the marathon. Next. Yeah, this is the T-shirt we're wearing that Costa designed. Costa is also a very talented musician as well. Next. This is Geopachi. I love this place. There's Jody and me. And next to Jody and me in the red cap is Eunice Owino. She's the executive director at Geopachi. Next. Let's see. Yeah, Eunice is right in the middle. Jamila Aziz is a good friend of mine. And she's wearing this shirt. It's a fabulous shirt. It was designed by United Nations, by an artist whose work is on United Nations postage stamps. And whoever wears this shirt, it just brings smiles and so much joy to them. Next. Okay, so then we needed another World AIDS Marathon T-shirt for 2019. The painting on the left was by Edward Arado, and these artists are so talented. I bought the painting, and I told Edward Arado, I need a T-shirt in a similar style, so he did the shirt on the right. And that's actually the shirt I'm wearing. Maybe if I stand up or go lower down, I'm not too sure what you're able to see. Okay, next. This is another orphan dinner dance. Since 2006, the Richard M. Brodsky Foundation has sponsored 45 orphan dinner dances for 11,774 Kenyan orphans and caretakers. This is at Banyo's Kenya Mission. Dr. Banyo is on the left. Dr. Sartori is on the right. And since 2011, we've provided medical care and medicine for almost 3,000 Kenyan orphans. We've also had doctors from Kansas, Ohio, Kenya, and Australia. Next. This is kind of sad. Well, that's Barack Obama's grandmother sitting in the middle. She passed away in 2021. She was 99. We had seen her the last time was in 2019. And she's just a lovely person, and may she rest in peace. Next. Okay, so every year we give certificates to our heroes. This one was to my wife. She's really special. She comes with me every year to Kenya. She lets me do my work. I used to be an architect. I made a decent living. When you run a foundation, whatever. But anyhow, she's great. She lets me do it. Okay, this is a very special slide. Dr. Richard Sartori couldn't come with us in 2020. He had a certain problem that he just couldn't make it. And so when it came time, I really couldn't give him a Hero of the Year award. So we were in my backyard giving Hero of the Award certificates to Jody, to my friend Jamila, And I just said to Richard, you just weren't there. I'm sorry. I said, but we can give you a Lifetime Achievement Award. And he was so surprised. He was so honored. Anyhow, the certificates were designed by Lindsay Mayer. And the previous certificate was designed by Lindsay Mayer of Long Island also. I have a playful side. I like to imagine myself in places where I'm really not. So we take this picture and people think we're in Italy. We're really at a local Italian restaurant. It does have its drawbacks. When I ask people for donations, they say, what do you need money for? You're traveling, you're vacationing in Italy. Next. Okay, this movie is a really, really special movie. It's called World AIDS Marathoners Love Affair with Kenya. It's going to be in the chat box where you can see the video. And it's about everything I love about Kenya. And a second theme of it is, why can't we embrace and celebrate diversity like they do in Kenya? There's some amazing artists, singers, dancers. Next slide. In fact, Eliud Kipchoge, the only person who ran a sub-2-hour marathon, gave me a personal video message in the video. Next. Racing to take the COVID-19 vaccine. That's another video. And there's even some really good go to the next slide, I'll tell you about it. Okay, this was a plea for everyone to take the vaccine. And 6 weeks after taking my second COVID-19 vaccine, I ran my fastest marathon in the past 20 months. So if I can take this vaccine, I'm living with HIV and brain cancer. A lot of other people can take it also. So it's really a plea for America to share its vaccine with poorer countries. And we had 30 presenters from diverse backgrounds sharing thoughts how to end the COVID-19 pandemic. And we had a nice presentation from Great Neck North High School in the video. Thanks, Glenn Walther of All Round Foods. He donated $20,000 in food to my foundation, which we donated to Five Towns Community Center in Lawrence, which serves Inwood and some poorer families, neighboring towns. Also, we went to Wyandanch Memorial High School and Elmont Family Health Center. Next. The World AIDS Marathon, that's Jody and I in the front. That's Joseph Ochieng, the race director, who organizes the event every year. He's also a board member of my foundation. Next. Okay, this was a special needs kids art exhibit. We got a grant for it last year, and we'll be applying for a second grant in December for a concert as well. For special needs kids. And these kids are really talented artists. You can see their work. It's all displayed there. Next. This is the 2021 World AIDS Marathon t-shirt. It was painted by Stephen Bennett, and Stephen's work appears on United Nations postage stamps. And we did receive a grant from the Teresa Foundation last year for 4 art lessons and a concert. The concert was absolutely amazing. Each group was better than the other. Kaish Roberts had the best dances, the choreography, their timing. It was like flawless. Costa Ojwang wrote a beautiful song. He's also a great artist. He did the t-shirt. The upper right is Gabiro MTU Necessary in the blue jacket. Those are special needs kids dancing. He started performing and these kids just gravitated towards him, and he didn't even ask them to dance. Very, very talented. Back on Long Island, we've been able to donate $330,000 in toys, COVID-19 food relief and cash at 111 events from 2015 through 2021. And we always display either the World AIDS Marathon banner, or if we donate it locally, we donate the 5K AIDS Cancer Run Walk banner. In fact, get your camera out because we're going to come up to my my contact slide in a minute. Okay, this is the 15th annual 5K AIDS Cancer Run Walk. It's going to be on June 12th, 2022. And we never charge people who are living with HIV or cancer. It's my way of giving back. Running helps save my life. I want other people to get that benefit also. I wrote this, philanthropy needs to be thought of as an art. How can one apply paint to a canvas that will evoke an image of hope for a brighter tomorrow? Those 3 websites are my websites. The first one is the World AIDS Marathon. The second one is the foundation. The last one is the 5K AIDS Cancer Run Walk site. You can make donations through any of the sites. And I hope you had a chance, or if you can go back. My email is listed at the bottom. And let's see. Actually, I have a little surprise for you here, Ron. I wrote this book, Richard Brodsky's Journey of Hope. And, you've been very supportive over the years. And on the back of the book, you can see there's presidents listed at the top, I think Obama and Clinton. And if you scroll to the very last one, you guys might recognize that name. This was a surprise for you, Ron.
It certainly is. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so it reads on the bottom. It's from Ronald Fatoullah, president of the New York City chapter of the National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys. A heartfelt thanks to Richard and Jody Brodsky and the Richard M. Brodsky Foundation for their exceptional efforts in fighting HIV/AIDS and in assisting those with brain cancer. Richard, your life history is truly an inspiration to all of us. Okay, we have a few videos coming up. The first one is at a medical clinic. When they hear there's a doctor in town, everybody is here. We're really here to help the orphans, but of course, anybody who's sick and needs an exam, needs medicine, that's what the good Dr. Sartori is here for. We're here at Gio Pace. It's December 2nd, and it's just an amazing experience what everybody's able to do here. And there's to be a lot of lives that are saved. Thanks so much, Dr. Sartori. Okay, this got a little bit rushed. I really wanted to thank Ron for giving me the opportunity to speak. Also, after these 3 videos, Vicky's going to be taking over. The next video is at Gio Pace, and you can just see all the fun we have there. It's like life is a big party.
All right. Go, Mark.
Okay, I didn't get to say this before, but as far as we're always looking for volunteers, we need toys and clothing donated, new toiletry items. We're looking for sponsors. We look for raffle prizes. If you can help, I don't know if I'm allowed. Can you hear me now? You can still hear me? Okay. We're also looking for graphic designers, website designers, race day volunteers, marketing, PR people, people skilled in social media, video editors, grant writers, and just people who want to, any way you can help. This got out of order a little bit. There's going to be another video after this. This is my wife, Jody. We were going to save the best for last, but she's here now, so we're going to go to Jody.
Brodsky. My husband, Richard, is president of the Richard Ambrovsky Foundation. I'm a board member and also co-race director of the 5K AIDS Cancer Run Walk. And I just wanted to tell you I'm so proud of him, and I think he's been able to survive and thrive with his HIV and brain cancer because of the Richard Ambrovsky Foundation. We support children, special needs children, and HIV positive people, cancer survivors in America and in Africa. It's been our passion to travel to Africa for our 15th year this year and have the World AIDS Marathon. The shirt I wear is one of them that we've had the previous years for the World AIDS Marathon. I've currently, I'm going to run my 90th marathon, the Fort Lauderdale Marathon, with my husband Richard, who's going to run his 74th marathon. It's been our passion. It was our first date when we met, and I think it's been a wonderful way to help Richard just really be passionate about his life and the work he does. Thanks.
Okay, we may have one more video of Mama Sarah dancing. She's 93 at the time. Do you have that one, Jackie? If not, it's going to be back to Vicky.
Back to Vicky.
So,
Thank you,
so-
Richard.
Okay,
Thank you, Richard. That was quite comprehensive and really very, very inspiring, all the work that you do and the pride that you take in what you do and what your wife and you have accomplished with this foundation. I'm no stranger to starting a not-for-profit organization. I had one of my own that I ran for about 20 years. So I know all the details, particulars, and the grunt work that goes into it every day to make a difference, and you certainly have. And we certainly appreciate you sharing all this information in your story, which is very inspiring. And before I turn it over to Ron Fatoullah, Christopher Reeve, we all know Christopher Reeve's story and what he encountered. And there's a quote from him that goes, "I think a hero is an ordinary individual who finds the strength to persevere and endure in spite of overwhelming obstacles." So it's obvious that both you and Ron Gold have demonstrated that. And we, once again, we sincerely appreciate you sharing your story with us today and showing us that, you know what, there's a lot to be said by being not done yet, and how we can recreate ourselves, redirect ourselves, and make a difference in spite of things that have happened to us in our lives. So thank you for all you do. So with that being said, I want to turn it over to Mr. Fatoullah, who, for those of us who know and admire Ronald Fatoullah, these type of webinars are made and these programs are made possible really by his supportive nature, his ability to have the vision to see how these things really can just make a difference out there. And, and the firm itself, looking at not in addition to what we do on a day-to-day basis, really how we affect the community at large when we bring programs like this to everyone. So we have a little bit of a time issue. So I'm going to digress for a minute and let Ron jump in his own magical way to, certainly weigh in on this program. So Ron, thank you so much for everything.
Oh, no, thank you. Vicky, thank you, Jackie. But I mean, Ron and Rich, what a program. I am so inspired. I was inspired to begin with, but I am just so inspired. And, I feel that what you've done and what you've just said, and knowing your story beforehand, makes me a better person, makes me better at my job, but more importantly, makes me a better person. And Rich, thank you so much for putting me on your book. I mean, what an honor that is. I would wear your T-shirts. I mean, I wear your T-shirts because I donate, and I encourage anyone listening to donate to the Richard Brodsky Foundation. It's amazing, as you can see. And anyone that needs a caregiver, I mean, you've heard what Ron does and how he was in Ron Gold, how he was inspired to do what he does, and how great is that? And this inspires me, and I just have to thank you guys. I do have a slide presentation. It's about 7:45. I'm only going to spend about, time is short, not going to keep you guys too late here. So I'm going to go over some of the legalities, but before I even get to that, I just want to go over some of the takeaways that I wrote down, knowing you guys, even before I wrote this, before tonight, this morning, but these are just some of the takeaways, knowing you. And Rich, I know it's important to you, and it really does matter, right and wrong and what's going on. Jody, your wife, has been a loving partner, and you know how important that is, and that's a mantra of yours. And doesn't have to be a spouse. Your loving partner could be a close family member, could be anyone that you really relate to. I think you guys know that I lost my brother about 1.5 years ago. He was like my soulmate in so many ways. And we were as tight as could be. I learned how to basically not to dwell on the fact as much as I could that he's not here, but being so grateful for what I had. Having a partner, having a loving family can mean everything. And I love it when you say you can do anything you want to do if you believe in yourself and you put your mind to it. Positive energy, the importance of self-care, because I know you take care of yourself, and giving back is good for your soul. It really, truly is. I wasn't going to mention it, but Rich, you did. I contribute to every one of the marathons, even though I don't run in the marathon. Maybe one day you'll get me to walk a little bit or do something. I'm very active. I'm an active guy, but I just don't run. I do other things. But to support this is one of the best things that you can do. So, Rich, thank you so much. In talking about overcoming the odds, you guys talk about what you've done. You've overcome so much, and your strength and resiliency is just unbelievable. And I think anyone hearing this story would make them stronger. It's made me stronger. And I just want to digress for a minute and talk about my father and my brother. They were the biggest influencers in my life. My father had to deal with a lot of poverty growing up. He only had a 4th grade education. He grew up just at a very young age in Tehran, and he lived in a very, very modest home. There was no running water. There was an outhouse shared with many families who had homes in that area, and with virtually no education because he had to go out to work and support his family instead of getting education beyond the 4th grade. Hard to believe. But the family had to move to Paris because my father's sister had a rare disease, and that's where there was a specialist, a rare eye disease. There was a specialist in Paris, so they moved there. And he actually one day was walking the streets of Paris, and he was working, again, at a very young age, but he was walking the streets of Paris and found a box of postage stamps. Now, my dad and my brother always had this most amazing moral compass. Even living in such poverty, he found this box and he said, well, it's not mine, it's somebody else's, probably. I have to bring it to the police, which he did. And the police told him, if no one claimed this box of stamps within 60 days, well, it's going to be yours. And again, the family was living in poverty. He checked with the police every few days. It's a story he told me many times, to see if anyone claimed the box of stamps. And at the end of the 60 days, no one claimed it. He went to the police station and he was given this box of stamps. So he went out and decided to learn somehow how to be a stamp dealer, a philatelist. And eventually, he ultimately became one of the largest philatelists in the world, despite his education. And despite his education, he was able to read and write in 5 different languages. But listen to this twist and turn. So there he was in Paris, having now a successful business. And we were Jewish, despite growing up in Iran, etc., with my funny last name, we're Jewish. And the writing was on the wall regarding the Nazis. And he was smart enough to take the last boat out of Paris into, I forgot what port it was, and then you catch another boat to the US. He was able to get passage by giving up almost everything that he had. His sister was left behind, but he eventually got to New York, but had to give up everything he had. So he got to New York with nothing. And he overcame the odds, worked his business again as a philatelist, and had this amazing business that he built up again. And as I said, became one of the largest stamp dealers in the world at the time. He died about 50 years ago. I was only a teenager, but we were very, very close. And he was my role model at the time. And I've learned so much from him. And if you just look at that last bullet point, so much like you, Ron, so much like you, Rich, you have so much to give back despite the odds. You're resilient. You think ahead. You're flexible. You had to be able to change. And you're compassionate and passionate. And you guys have a great moral compass. Well, I'm talking about you, but I'm also talking about my dad. He was amazing. He died when I was a teenager. And he and my brother, both not here at this point, but I had, and I still have, because they're alive in my own brain, such great role models. And some of Ron's takeaways. He didn't want to be a burden to his loved ones. How can you not be a burden? As Ron said many times, plan. That's what I do for a living. And I oftentimes feel like people don't quite understand it. Maybe now you will when I say it. In a sense, I feel like I'm doing God's work because I help people plan for the unexpected. And sometimes it's planning for the expected. But usually it's the unexpected. You know, with this world today and COVID, you don't know what's coming down the pike. Just in the last 10 days, one of the attorneys in my office, the spouse, lost his mother 10 days ago. It's awful. Just 2 days ago, lost his brother. This was not a thought, a couple of weeks ago. We don't know what's coming down the pike, and planning is so key. It's legal planning. It's legal planning, getting your docs in order. All of this is just so key. You don't want to be a burden to anyone else. And Ron, you didn't say it, but you did say it. Failing to plan is planning to fail. Doing your planning, including your legal planning, is an act of love to your family, because you won't be a burden to them. Everything will be there. And, as many of you know, the firm's mission statement starts with doing well by doing good. So a great plan starts with the important documents. I know time is very short. I'm not going to get into, the nitty-gritty on the legal end of things, but you want to make sure that you have your documents in place. You want someone who's a professional to think about it and to draft the right documents for you. It's just so important. Many people don't think that what we do as attorneys are creative, but what we do is very creative. We could spit out documents like some firms might do, but we could also provide documents that are very personalized and really make a difference with the documents that we do, because we're proactive. Everyone's situation is a little bit different. Many times people ask, well, should I do a will or a trust? Bottom line is, most of the time, you should do both. And there's very good reasons to do both. It's asset protection. It's estate planning. It's planning for long-term care, etc. And the reasons go on and on. Sometimes people say, well, a trust is there only to avoid probate. Yeah, that's true. And that's important. And people don't realize that when we draft our documents, just in case, because we are proactive, by doing what we do, we eliminate for our clients Medicaid recovery. We many times with our trust can eliminate New York State estate taxes because the exclusion is about half. And the list goes on and on. Things that you don't think about, but things that we think about and keeps us up at night because we want to do the right thing. Again, I spoke about the new power of attorney law, and we've actually have spent so much time on this new power of attorney to make sure that it is so comprehensive and is the best power out there. I won't go into the trust basics. Every situation is different. I do want to talk about some Medicaid planning. Medicaid is the only way to pay for long-term care unless you're going to pay for it yourself, which is fine. But many people just can't afford it. I would definitely look at what the work that Ron does, Ron Gold. It's amazing. And that is an option. But Medicaid is an option for home care and especially nursing home care because it's just many people just can't afford their care. So I do want people to know this sounds very simple. Well, a couple of weeks ago, not even, Governor Hochul proposed the elimination of a Medicaid.
I'm still on the
asset.
call, okay?
Yeah. So people don't know that, but don't be fooled. Millionaires are going to have a big issue because there's Medicaid recovery issues. But let's backtrack. This is governor's proposal, and it's in her budget. It has to be passed by the New York State legislature, but they probably will. You know, we have a Democratic House and a Democratic Senate in New York State. But this requires the approval of the federal government, CMS, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. And by approving this in New York, it might set a precedent throughout the United States. Are the feds willing to do it? Maybe yes, maybe no. But if they do accept it, you might say, well, this Medicaid's going to be simple. I could do this on my own. But there is still Medicaid recovery. They're going to come back and look for and try to get your home and other assets and be paid back. There's still a Medicaid penalty period for gifts. There is so much that needs to go into this, and there's so much uncertainty. But knowing what we know for the last few days, I guess, it's pretty new, but I just want you to know that when we do planning, we have to look at long-term care. We have to look at the proposals. We have to look at the fact that just a couple of weeks ago, New York State raised their exemption level for New York State estate taxes. Just about a month ago, there were changes that we thought were going to come down in the Build Back Better plan, which didn't. But now we have to anticipate maybe a watered down version that will change the way we do our estate planning practice. And I'm going to end on this. It's one thing to be an attorney and be good at what you do. But there are people like my father, my brother, Richard Brodsky, Ron Gold, and there are others. But you guys inspire me so much. We don't want to be good, and I know you don't want to be good. You want to be exceptional. I want to be exceptional. I am very passionate about what I do. I love it. And the firm is compassionate as well. And so are you guys. The combination is amazing. I am humbled to just be able to put you guys on a panel together with me. And I just want to thank you. Thank you guys so much. And thank you everyone who came on this and listened to this. I've been inspired and I'm sure you have as well. So thank you guys so much. Vicki, back to you.
So once again, I'll mirror that and thank everybody for sharing this evening with us. And obviously, this has been very moving, very inspiring, and exceeded our expectations. And we're so glad to have launched this not done yet concept. And we're looking forward to other future events and highlighting people's stories and celebrating the spirit of the human condition. We'll be in touch on that. I'm going to end with a quote that I think, and Ron, it's almost like we planned this, but I think it's very befitting this. Excellence is obtained by those who care more than others think is wise, who risk more than others think is safe, and dream more than others think is practical. So thank you all. And There's some information in the chat. I don't know who captured it on different things about blogs and contacts. Certainly, you can reach out to either me or Jackie if you're looking for more information that you didn't capture from this meeting right now. And thanks to Jackie, of course, for always, the collaboration that we do to get these programs completed successfully.
You guys are the best, both of you. You guys work so well together. Thank you so much for putting this all together.